Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's your man, God of Dots. Well, listen, too much going on. God of Dots, man. We are back here with another KBK, man. Hope you all have had a very good week. We have most of us working people. Brother, of certain days, Miss Spur, Dr. Nick, most of us working people, we got a 3-day weekend. But hope you have a very good weekend and all that good stuff, man. And, get out and enjoy the family. It's getting closer and closer to the holidays, man. So if you got time, use it, spend it, kick it with your folks. It's healthy for you. But anyway, we're here, man, with another KBK, man. I like to kind of mix the social with the sports a little bit. If you saw the thumbnail, KD, Stephen A. Smith, just the latest round of a superstar player getting into it with someone in the media. And this has become a routine pattern. But that's not the event that they kind of, wanted, kind of inspired me. I would say that kind of inspired me to put together tonight's show. It was an incident about a week or so ago. Um, uh, Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid, superstar center, former MVP, was suspended for 3 games for shoving a journalist. The initial report that came out was Joel Embiid punched a journalist. Then it was later confirmed that he shoved a journalist over a commentary that the journalist had, which involved not only Joel Embiid's son being mentioned in said article in commentary, but also Joel's deceased brother, who happens to have the same name as his son. Um, and this kind of, got me to thinking, the new age of media. And, of course, I'm going to kind of mix into politics with it if I can. I try to do something with this gumbo called life. But it called, like, is there a line? Is there a line that media, sports media initially, but this media in general, we're going to expand this conversation out just a little bit. But is it a line that, hey, kind of like line of demarcation that you shouldn't cross if you're someone in what we call mainstream media, but even extending past that. And we'll kind of get into KD and Stephen A. Smith in just a little bit. But with the Joel Embiid situation, I would say this: I can understand the reaction. Not that I have a problem with the reaction. I can understand, family being a very sensitive subject for anybody, especially when we're talking about a deceased relative, especially someone that is, a sibling, to have them brought up in a manner. And if you read the article, and and the journalist, kind of says that, he hasn't been the same. His work ethic and his time, his personal life, and the stuff that he's got going on with his personal life, as far as his son is concerned, and as far as his deceased brother and all of that affecting Joel, he's trying to take something that's in his personal life and try to correlate it with his professional performance. And I get it, Joel. I get it. I'm not one of those people that was came down hard on you. Like, yeah, you have to suck it up because it's the media. Because in the context of things, if you want to, and I've always said this, if you want to grade me on my performance on stage and when I'm, doing quote unquote my job, that's fine and dandy. But sometimes, it goes a little too far with the sports media and the journalists. The journalistic media now is like we're pushing the envelope, pushing the envelope, pushing the envelope. And as a professional athlete, I mean, can you just imagine? I know people say, the athlete, they get paid so much money. This is part of the job, yada, yada, yada. This is what they do. They should, come to expect it. But can you imagine someone who don't know you personally, who can't do what you do? Let's keep that in perspective. Also, it's not like a former player calling out a current player. You're talking about guys who didn't play for real at any kind of level to really critique a lot of these players. But can you imagine someone coming to your job who can't do what you do, maybe aspires to do what you do, but their job is to sit there and critique and break down what you do on a daily basis, and not even taking into account the amount of work and effort you might have put in, the preparation you put into performing your job at a very high level. And when we're talking about professional athletes, NBA, NFL, doesn't matter. These guys are performing at the highest level possible on God's green earth. To have, just random strangers. And it seems like, it used to be with this, what they call now legacy media. We'll kind of get into that a little bit when we kind of spin it into the politics part of it. Now it's, every joker with a cell phone. It can keep, it's, what's the phrase that I saw on Twitter this week? It's you had legacy media is dead. It's now you media, meaning YOU. Anybody with a cell phone can critique your performance, tear down your performance, and you're just supposed to just kind of just suck it up and take it with a grain of salt. Listen, if you play bad, you play bad. But I'm not one to go above and beyond and go into the reason why, for example, the reason why Dak is playing bad because he's got a baby and a woman and all of that. And that's straight like he's just playing bad because he played bad. That's what it is. But the Joel Embiid situation is kind of this, this keeps it brings back memories of interactions that players have had with the media. I could think in the world of football, Marshawn Lynch, being forced to come out there and speak to the media, not, knowing he didn't want to do that, knowing that's not, something he was comfortable doing, and, being forced to do it. So sports and media, I mean, like, but you got to ask yourself, what is fair game? What is fair game? It's one thing when, you put your life out there on social media, you put your life out there in the media. But it's another thing when people go and dig up stuff that's not even relevant to, the subject matter, in the case of Joel Embiid. But people don't respect boundaries. I agree with that, Dr. Nikki. I agree with that. In this, it's become more, you're seeing that more and more with quote unquote legacy media nowadays, because now they're in the position where they have to compete for the attention, the clicks and views, and the notoriety of people who are not, who are not necessarily considered legacy media. You have people like Joe Rogan. People like Joe Rogan is an outlier, but you have former athletes who say, "Hey, I don't want to be on the ESPNs or the Fox News. I want to have my own podcast and do stuff like that." Podcasting and doing it on your own is like the new wave of media, and we'll get into it with the politics. Brother of a certain day says, you go back to Jim Rome. Listen, that is a classic clip. I don't know if anybody's up. I might have to pull that up. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull that up, because if you've never seen that clip, it is a doozy. Matter of fact, let me pull it up. It's my show. Hey, I can do what I want. Jim Rome. Yeah. Yeah, y'all need to see this clip. You need to actually see this. Let me see if I got the whole thing. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. Good one, brother. How you doing? Beautiful, beautiful. I don't know. That it's similar to Bad TV. Ask rapper self-incriminating questions. Yes, it is, Dr. Nikki. But I think it's, matter of fact, let me do the first clip first, and I'm gonna play the Jim Everett one a little bit later. It is like that. But it's kind of like, it's a part of you. I mean, a part of me. I would say this, a part of me may think, hey, a player may be being too sensitive about what they see on social media. Because listen, everybody with a cell phone and opinion doesn't have to be acknowledged, doesn't have to mean what they're saying is correct. And some people kind of take it to, some people kind of really take what you say on the microphone to heart, and then they get into they feelings and stuff. But let me go ahead and play this clip real quick. Fair use and all of that good stuff. Um, Strictly for commentary purposes is all. But this is the clip of Stephen A. responding back to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, who called Stephen A clown for some of his takes on him and questioning his effort and his leadership that he's brought to the Phoenix Suns, and pretty much that the leadership he's brought in each destination he's played for in the NBA. And this is Stephen A's response to what the good brother Kevin Durant had to say.
Phoenix Suns. Kevin apparently took exception to my comments I made on First Take this week about his leadership. For those of you who missed it, let me play a portion of that clip right here, right now. Just take a listen.
When you talk about Kevin Durant, this is what we're not going to do. We're not going to look at Kevin Durant and just measure him in terms of just his talent. It's what ability you have to peel out of others. He's been relatively leaderless. He's been very lacking in inspiration in terms of peeling out from those around him whatever you can give him. He'll show up. If you said to me, it's a game 7, it's a game 1, it's a game 5, I don't give a damn what it is. Kevin Durant's going to show up and he's going to ball out. But does he get the others around him to do it? Not only does he not do it, he doesn't feel the level of responsibility I think he should feel in getting it out of him.
Now, here's what Kevin posted on social media via X in response to those very comments I made on First Take. Quote, I would disagree, Stephen. I would argue passionately that my intangibles have always been on par with my talent, end quote. Naturally, I responded to Kevin with the following post you see here saying, quote, I would argue passionately that very little compares to your obvious greatness as a talent, including those tangibles, hashtag respectfully, end quote. And I stand by it. Kevin Durant is a phenomenal player. He's not a phenomenal leader. The evidence has shown that. Showed it in Brooklyn, showed it in Oklahoma City, has shown it in Phoenix thus far. Do you have the ability to galvanize the troops around you to maximize their potential? A legit argument can be made to say no. That's the bottom line. I take no joy in saying that. It's certainly not disrespectful to Kevin Durant. Everybody ain't meant to lead. Now, he's being a bit more outspoken from what we saw in game 1 because he was mic'd up, and maybe it's changing, and I wish him nothing but the best. I know how phenomenal of a player he is, but I stand by every syllable I said because it's his track record that I'm talking about.
Let me come back over here. Now, in regards to Stephen A questioning him, listen, I'm on the side of KD with this one. And I would say, the reason why I'm on the side with KD with this one, I think Stephen A's kind of missing the point. This is a professional athlete. It is incumbent on you to, get yourself prepared, get yourself motivated. You have to be not just a professional athlete, just a professional, period. You're supposed to be a self-starter. If nothing else, what's good? What's going on, Germ? It's there you go, Doc. And you can see being paid to lead or to play and win. And I'm on the latter part of that. He's paid to play and win. And his brand of leadership, like, hey, I go out there and put the work in, and some may see that as leading by example. Some people don't need the rah-rah. Some people don't need it. Some people are self-starters, self-motivated. And I think, people like Stephen A, when they, once again, that line across, when you start to question the guy, your leadership and that kind of stuff, like, what are you really basing that on? Not my play, but you're basing it on the performance of the team or performance of the other guys who's supposed to be putting in the same amount of work and effort that I put into it. On a routine and daily basis. Like, what are you really, you getting at like here? So you're trying to nitpick at me for the failures of others. I'm not a proponent of that. And like I said, but it, goes back into, we're transitioning out of the era of the legacy media where it was kind of boundaries and etiquette, and you wasn't saying this kind of stuff. Now, Stephen A was being petty. Petty ain't even the word for it. Dr. Nick, I think Stephen A and what you see in a lot of people in the media, social media, and the legacy media is, how far can I push the envelope? I was saying this. How far can I push the envelope of good taste? You want to critique my play on the field, my performance or whatever that is, fine. Hey, you had a bad game, you missed a lot of shots, you didn't rebound, you threw the big interception, fine. To kind of, but the question, what I put into my effort and preparation, and you're not there, you're not seeing it, is a, for me, it is a bit, quote unquote out of bounds. That's when you get into the back and forth, and players nowadays, are quick to respond, using the same media outlets that you have access to. Brother said, "Hey, you doing, Teresa? Is the leadership role inherent when it comes to superstars?" I'm like this, brother of a certain age. Leadership comes in different forms and different fashions. Some people lead with kindness. Some people lead with being an asshole. Some people are, very democratic in their approach to leadership. Some people are dictators. I mean, it's various different forms of leadership. Do you expect? Let's look at Michael Jordan. Would you say his leadership style was, when you hear about how he treated his teammates, fighting and dogging them out and talking down to him, you think that's a proper form of leadership? Because people at the end of the day want to look at the results. He won championships, so that leadership style must work. It all depends on how you take it. It all depends on how you take it. You expect your superstars to lead in some kind of fashion, but it's no manual, it's no blueprint on how you're supposed to lead. I mean, you look at he's an example in his community. I mean, you look at, let's say, Tim Duncan. I mean, Tim Duncan wasn't a guy hollering, screaming, and all of that, and but he won championships. He won. He led by example. Go out there, perform, and you guys follow along. You guys put in the preparation, and we can get these results. I mean, everybody has their own way of kind of doing it. Me personally, I don't need the rah-rah. I don't need you hollering in my ear. This kind of give me an objective, and we'll kind of go from there. I don't really need you fussing, and that that's not a motivator for me. I mean, but to each his own. Some people need to be chewed out. Some people need to be cussed out. Some people like that. I mean, I don't know. To each his own. Everybody has a different leadership style that they prefer, that they work well with. You'll have some people say, "Hey, you're too loud." Then you have another person say, "Hey, that person's too quiet for me." I mean, but it's all about personal preference and that kind of stuff. But I wanted to use that to kind of set up. I did touch on this on Wednesday's show, and I did want to kind of bring. Listen, I don't want to make this. I don't want to make. First of all, I don't want to make the show too long. I don't want to make the show too long, but I did want to kind of get into politics and the effects of media has had, and especially in this presidential cycle, more so than anything else. I think what you have seen in this particular cycle, in regards to how messages are getting across and how messages are being perceived. The days of legacy media. When I say legacy media, I'm talking about like your ABCs, CBSs, NBCs, that kind of stuff. Mainstream media. They're having less and less, I would say, influence on how people respond to stuff. With the rise of social media, and with the rise of the podcast, people have their own individual podcasts and shows and that kind of stuff. I don't have to tune in to a CNN to find out what's going on in the world. The world is at my fingertips, and I think legacy media is slow to come around to it. And I think, in turn, with them being slow to come around to it, I think it played a very big role. And this is just my personal opinion. I think it played a very big role in the Democratic Party not having the success that they thought they would have. They lean more into, legacy media. We want to do that kind of stuff and get our stuff into the news. Like, exactly, Dr. Nikki. People don't watch TV like that no more. People just don't. And I think the Republican Party was a very smart decision by whoever their campaign strategy is. Let's lean into the media, the social media. Let's lean into really hammering home our message on that front, because we're able to reach many. First of all, it's cheaper to do it. It's more cost effective. I have a chance to get my message out to so many different audiences and so many different markets and that kind of stuff by using social media to do that. And I think the Democratic Party, they had it, I would say, during the Obama the Obama re-election cycles, but it didn't resonate. And this is one of the problems that I think the Democratic Party had with this cycle. Wasn't embracing really embracing the social media. Like, we're going to do what we've done traditionally and thinking that's going to hold weight with people. That's going to hold weight with voters. And I think they kind of let me see if I can boomerang this back to sports. I think what you're seeing now is even legacy media on the sports side. It's not it's not having the effect. They're not having the impact on people's opinions like they used to, because now I don't have to watch a ESPN. I can go watch a Shannon Sharp or Gilbert Arenas podcast or a Jeff Teague podcast, and I can actually hear from guys who played the game without the constraints of having to be so media friendly and maintaining those relationships, much like what you saw with Trump and Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has a very large base. Like, I can come here, say what I have to say, ramble on, for hours saying completely nothing. But this is a audience, that is, I'm reaching many more people in a better format than I would going to an ABC or a CBS. And it's just a much more natural environment. And listen, she tried. I think if she had been, and this is just my opinion, I think if she had been more open, with her, I guess, kind of let your hair down with the Shannon Sharp interview. I think she might have pulled some more voters, but it just didn't happen like that. And I think the Democratic Party, you got 2 years to kind of get it together, learn from your mistakes. Because mistakes were made as far as like your campaign model. Yeah, I might get into the politics just a little bit. I'm sorry. Thought Joe Biden should have stepped aside 2 years ago. As far as having people thinking he was going to run for re-election, should have stepped aside 2 years ago. Yeah. But while I'm doing that, hold on. Let me take this down. I want to show you. She ran with a sense of entitlement like Hillary did. Listen, Dr. Nikki, that could be I could do a whole show, a series on, that whole campaign and all of that. Let me stop this screen. That how they was, and this setup of, you're trying to set up your scapegoat is to be black man, and voila, early, exit polls show it wasn't black men that was the issue. It was Latino men. You didn't, but hey, I guess you. Oh, yeah. Try not to turn into that. Don't do it, Dots. Don't do it. Don't turn it into that kind of show. All of it was off putting. But that's when you think that's your bread. Listen, Republicans, and I didn't, I don't agree with a lot of stuff that they say, but as far as the strategy is concerned, we're going to pander to. If you're going to pander to the base, know what your base is looking for. Know what your base wants. You strolling out Glorilla, Beyonce, Meg The Stallion, and then a Usher is not going to motivate me to the polls. But when you have been using that model for so long, when you have been using that model of, hey, I'm finna go and visit such and such black church to, try to endear myself to these voters, because that's what we've always done in the past. And I don't recall, and maybe someone can correct me, I don't recall Trump sitting in anybody's church. I don't recall Trump sitting in anybody's synagogue or anything like that. Like, nah, I'm doing my rallies and stadiums and all of that. And I'm talking to my base. And I think the Democratic Party has lost touch. I wouldn't even say just the base. I think the Democratic Party would, this is ought to be a referendum. Like, you kind of lost touch of what is really going on. What is really going on in America. You have really, really, really lost touch of what's going on. And it's I've been y'all know I've been saying it for the longest, but I've been seeing it for years that model of we just gonna shuck and jive with you and hot sauce in my bag and collard greens in my tub. It's those days are over. That generation of voters is the minority of your base now. People want to hear, even if it's just promises, people want to hear promises of tangibles. And media is they didn't embrace the model, like no real presence on social media. You want to vote for her because you want to vote for DT. Listen, I get it. I get it. Listen, Miss Murphy, I get it. Yeah, she could have just used them for rallies. I mean, but you thinking, listen, I don't get, you pick celebrities that the majority of black people don't identify. Like, most of us don't identify with a Meg Thee Stallion. We just don't. And it's not to say anything about her character or anything. We just don't. Like, hey, you're here to help drive up rallies and voter registration. Can you go out there, give us a little verse? Okay, maybe. But had you shaking your behind with your dance, like, come on. Yeah, very, very a very disappointing result for that part. I mean, but this, like I said, it's your wake up call. You got 2 years to get it together. In 2 years, we're gonna see, have you woke up and smelled the coffee and embraced the you media, not just the legacy media. Embrace you media. Social media is a very, 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 very powerful tool. I'm just Dr. Nikki. I saw that. It's like, I was like, oh God. This is supposed to be, this is the way, you can get eyes like Jesus Christ. And then you got the Cardi B's up there. You can't read your script. I'm like, Then you got her on the phone, act like she's on the phone talking to a voter, and You up there getting your Umar Johnson on? Come on. Come on. So many missteps. I'm like watching this and so was I surprised by the results? No. Wish she had a better chance. If certain factors was in her favor, yeah, sure, she would have had a better chance. But come on, Glorilla and Flo Miller. Listen, all of that got me, Dr. Nikki. All you didn't bring up your best thing. I'm gonna bring up entertainers because I think about it. The Democratic Party has been, what was it 4 years ago? The no vote, no ass campaign with the saucy Santanas. And like, listen, your base, which you like to say black people are your base, they ain't buying it. That black and brown coalition they talk about, it didn't work. It didn't work at all. It didn't work at all. But let me show you this Jim Rome thing. Thanks to brother of a certain age for bringing it up, because I want you to see what it looks like when it goes left. So for those who don't know, Jim Everett used to be quarterback of the Rams back in the day. Jim Rome used to be a kind of like Skip Bayless before Skip Bayless on TV, just saying controversial stuff, antagonizing people, crossing them boundaries we talked about. But here is Jim Everett responding back to Jim Rome calling him out his name and calling him Chris Everett, the tennis player. But just watch.
Jim, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Check that. Chris Everett, good to have you on the show.
You know what? You've been calling me that for about the last 5 years.
About 2 years, actually, Chris.
Well, hey, you know what? Let me say one thing. In that game, how many sacks did I have that we came back and won?
How many sacks did you have?
How many sacks?
Let's see, but this was back in 1989.
Okay, that was about
you may have even been Jim Everett back there, but somewhere along the way, Jim, you ceased being Jim and you became Chris.
Well, let me tell you a little secret. That we're sitting here right now, and if you guys want to take a station break, you can. But if you call me Chris Everett to my face one more time,
I already did it twice.
You call one more time. We better take a station break.
Well, it's a 5-minute segment, or 5-segment show. We got a long way to go.
Well, we do.
We got a long way to go.
We do.
I'll get a couple segments out of you
Well,
before.
it's good to be here with you, though.
Well, it's good to see you
because
too.
you've been talking like this behind my back for a long time.
But now I said it right here.
Right. Exactly.
Well, we got no problem with that.
I think that you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
When the dust had settled, Rome continued with the show minus Everett. For his part, Everett apologized, saying the frustrations of his time in Los Angeles came to a head with the repeated taunts of his hosts, and he lost it.
Thanks to the brother of a certain age for that reminder of history on that one. Yeah. You bold, man. We call somebody the name in the flesh. You bold. And you a journalist, and that's a football player. But anyway, so let's get into the politics then. To be fair, brother, certainly says, to be fair, DT could shit himself on stage and his base won't care. Listen, he is, and I don't know how many times I've said this over the past couple of years. He has a hold on a base that I have never ever seen. When I say, he knows his base is not going anywhere. He knows they're not going anywhere. Yeah, Dr. Nick, he fucked around and found out. Whoa, he fucked around and found out. But yeah, embracing the media. And then, okay, fuck it, man. I'm about to let me do this because I really want to get into the other stuff. Give me a second. Give me just, you know what? We're gonna take a short musical break, then we're gonna get into y'all gonna have Okay, y'all gonna have a couple of minutes to kind of get it together. Then we gonna do what we do. Okay. And during this time, I'm gonna take me a quick water break. Then we gonna get ready to close out and do what we do. Let me get this right here.
Anybody grateful? Anybody thankful for what he done? Anybody grateful? Anybody thankful? 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 Anybody thankful? Let the Lord tell you thankful. And you and you. Anybody grateful? Anybody thankful? Over here. Anybody grateful? Anybody thankful? Get it up and come. Anybody grateful? You got that to wait.
Okay, I'm back. All right. Link has been dropped. Jesus Christ. Jesus be a fence. Jesus be a fence. All right. So the link has been dropped. All those that want to participate, by the end of the show in just a second. And let's do what we do. If you listening, just hit the link, we'll do what we do. Yeah. And as always, did you offer the phrase that pays over here? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. I'm out.